Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the Startup Society's Foundation podcast. Today, we are joined by Anton Bakov, Archchancellor of the Romanov Empire, joined by his son. Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining.
Hello. Let me present my father, Anton.
Thank you.
And myself. My name is Ilya. I will help you to understand each other.
It'll be an interesting conversation. We'll play off of each other a little bit. I never had a three-way interview before, but it'll be fun.
Okay.
So this is a very interesting case for a lot of reasons. So for one, it's not what we traditionally do, which is a special economic zone. It is trying to be a sovereign jurisdiction. Very interesting. It's also a throwback to an empire that ceased to rule around 100 years ago. So it's very interesting. But one interesting thing, and this is the first question I have, is the actual story of Anton himself. Can you give me a little background in Anton's sort of story as one of the first businessmen in all of Russia?
So when Anton was a student in 1985, in Soviet Union happened the process which is called everywhere perestroika, and some things from capitalism were introduced into Soviet Union economics, and Anton took his chance and became one of the first entrepreneurs in the Soviet Union. It was in 1987.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ну вот так я стал капиталистом. Сначала я проделал большую эволюцию от коммунистических взглядов, которые мне навязывали в школе, до социал-демократических. Со временем я стал монархистом, либертарианцем и немножко анархистом.
Okay, so after that, this Soviet thought person evolved at first into social democrat, then into capitalist, monarchist, and libertarian, and also a little bit of anarchist.
Да, всю жизнь я занимался частным бизнесом, и много лет, 14 лет я был депутатом парламентов в нашем регионе и Государственной Думе.
So over past 32 years, Anton have been always either a businessman or also member of parliaments of different levels for over 14 years. He also has been member of Russian State Duma for 4 years.
Сегодня мы с моим сыном Ильей занимаемся девелоперским бизнесом. У нас одна из крупнейших компаний в регионе. Ну и параллельно вот последние 5 лет мы занимаемся попыткой созданием, точнее, Романовской империи.
So, and in the course of the past 5 or even more, I think 6 years, we've been trying to make this project live and real.
Romanov Empire.
Yes, Romanov Empire. And as for our business, we are land developers. We build neighborhood communities, yes, for people, and sell houses.
In Russia.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Well, as an entrepreneur who's used to trying novel things, especially in an area where they're not used to it, I could see why you'd be so interested in creating something like the Romanov Empire. What really inspired you to go forward with a project with a regime that has not ruled for 100 years?
So it's our mutual opinion that in the past 100 years there was nothing better than Romanovs in Russia. So Soviet times and early Russian Federation, well, very poor.
И, конечно, мы понимаем, что в мире и к России, и к Романовым неоднозначное отношение, но ничего другого у нас просто нет.
We understand that in other countries outside of Russia, there is no one opinion about Romanovs and Russia, but Romanovs is maybe the only symbol of Russia that is legitimate and that is the one we can use outside.
And one of the justifications that I have heard used when trying to revive the Romanov Empire is that it's sort of analogous to the Roman Catholic Holy See, which is sort of like this extraterritorial jurisdiction that has the ability to go elsewhere. Why do you see there's a similarity?
You can also use an analogy with the Order of Malta. So extraterritorial, well, in the days of globalization, it should be extraterritorial. And we also are not limited only for Russian supporters or Russian-speaking supporters. And maybe the Holy See is the best way to represent this idea, because Holy See has people from different nations, from different continents, and doesn't really rule them, but is some symbol that can be that is very important to any part of the humankind.
И, конечно, мы все еще не оставляем надежды и прилагаем много усилий, чтобы обзавестись государственной территорией.
Yes, and we also are doing our best every day to receive some part of land anywhere in the world, to have our own territory, state territory.
Может быть, это не так важно для повседневного функционирования государства, но с точки зрения дипломатического признания, вспомним конвенцию Монтевидео, конечно, это нам необходимо.
So, of course, it is not really important for us to communicate with supporters, but to be a real and yes, and recognized part of the world politics. We have to somehow follow the Montevideo Convention that says and states that any real state should be recognized and should have its territory and its population.
Population у нас есть 5000 человек. Вот территория пока достаточно тяжело.
We have population. It's not large, only about 5,000 people. But the real problem is territory, because almost any territory, well, all lands are separated between other countries besides the Antarctics. And any other way to get your territory is to find an island in the seas, in neutral waters, but it is impossible geographically.
No, that's true. That's definitely the hardest element of any startup society project, is finding a jurisdiction. Normally with projects that we talk about, we do within a special economic zone or a special jurisdiction within a host nation. Normally, they don't refer to words such as sovereign, because of that turns off a lot of states. How do you plan to overcome that problem that it's an extra barrier that most startup societies do not have, and you don't really have the benefit of, let's say, the Catholic Church or the Knights of Malta, because they've had hundreds, if not thousands, of years of history and norms to build upon. How do you intend to create a sovereign entity?
Так, то есть как самую сложную вот эту задачу решить, с которой сталкиваются, в принципе, все желающие создать собственное государство, это своя юрисдикция. Конечно, мы сейчас в разных лигах с Ватиканом и Орденом Мальты, потому что все-таки у них есть, за ними есть история, вот, и, ну, то есть наши конкретные какие-то...
Ну, как известно, у нас были многообещающие переговоры, особенно далеко мы зашли с островами Кирибати, с республикой Кирибати, и у нас даже есть подписанное соглашение с Гамбией, которое пока не очень хорошо соблюдается, но мы продолжаем двигаться в данном направлении. И, в общем, мы объездили уже полмира и продолжаем, к сожалению, ездить и ездить.
Встречается. First of all, Anton and our team have a very long experience of governmental relations. So we don't use only pure PR, but it's also real hard work via different diplomatic channels. We managed to meet with heads of several states, including Antigua and Barbuda, Northern Macedonia. Now it's Northern Macedonia. Also Kiribati and the Gambia. Also, we managed to meet with two different presidents of the Gambia and two different prime ministers of the Northern Macedonia. We were very close in our negotiations with the Republic of Kiribati. It is a very small state in Pacific Ocean with a large number of uninhabited islands in the middle of nowhere, and we are still in cold talks with them. We also managed to sign a non-obliging memorandum with the Gambia, but we didn't manage to go further yet. So we are working with our supporters, with our members of our team in the Gambia, Kiribati, and also the Northern Macedonia. These are three countries which are on our shortlist, and we are in talks, but it is really difficult to go through all the bureaucracy and to teach every minister to understand that we are not going to separate any square foot of their land from their state. This is very important for us to use the model of an associated state. I think you know what it means.
Well, could you explain a little bit for our listeners who may not be familiar?
То есть ассоциированное государство, да? Nowadays in the world there are about 20 associated states. This means that technically one sovereign state is situated in another. Sometimes it's disputed because, like Monaco or Liechtenstein, they may state that they're absolutely sovereign, but of course they're associated with mother countries like France or Switzerland. Yes. Also, if we take a look at some of the former colonies, like
Cook Islands,
Niue, I think Palau, they have their associated state compact with, for example, New Zealand or the United States of America, that really state that these countries have some very close ties with their mother countries.
Подобная структура была и у нас в Советском Союзе, когда части Советского Союза, Украина и Беларусь были членами ООН и вступали в независимые международные отношения.
For example, when the United Nations was formed, two republics of the Soviet Union got their own votes and their own international relations. They were Ukraine and Belarus. So it is technically, and it is possible, and it is also doesn't contradict the international law for one country to be situated inside another and to share the same territory or a part of the same territory.
Excellent. So in response to that, I agree there are associated states, but those states, often their sovereignty is a historical process that's 100 years in the making, or a historical accident, like in the case of Liechtenstein and Monaco, or former colonies. The places that you're reaching out to don't really have any historical ties to the Romanov Empire, except for maybe Serbia. The main question is, what is the main value proposition that you're coming towards with these states? Because a state is a monopoly of territory. Any state that gives up their territory is giving up their sovereign identity to a certain point.
Only value proposition could be money. And as far as we know, we are not in talks with countries like the United States of America or maybe Norway, because these countries are really rich and their governments are doing their job quite well too, and their population is quite rich, or at least they have food. But when we talk about countries, especially former colonies or Northern Macedonia, which was a part of the Republic of Yugoslavia, and at first they were under Yugoslavian tyranny. Then they had their neighbors at war, and they are one of the poorest countries in Europe. So we think that we can provide for them a very interesting and non-obliging type of territory, or as you call it, special economic zone, but under our jurisdiction, that would attract foreign not only investors, because people don't invest somewhere where they are scared to go, but we would like to attract foreigners to settle, to live there, because we believe that when people choose to move, to relocate onto a new site, they would really invest in it much harder and with more enthusiasm than to something located on the other part of Earth.
I understand. It needs to be economically sustainable, and you have to have people come there, and that will be attractive to the jurisdictions.
Mhm.
Now, so I'm going to accept that for now for the sake of conversation. I do think there is issues with simply giving money for de facto sovereignty, even if it's a sub-jurisdiction. There are many poor nations around the world that might be willing to give some autonomy for money, but full-out sovereignty might cause a significant amount of controversy. But besides that, you mentioned the point of being economically sustainable and attracting investment. What are some of your plans to make the Romanov Empire economically attractive to investors?
Mhm. At this moment, we are we bear all the expenditures ourselves, so we don't promise or offer to our investors or possible investors any kind of business projects. Though, for example, when we talked and started our negotiations with the governments of Kiribati or of the Gambia, we proposed two quite similar, but of course different, development projects. For example, for the Republic of Kiribati, we offered to develop a whole island, modern island. It's about 100 acres, and to make it a resort like French Polynesia, yes, with its own airport and sea villas and hotels. Yes, absolutely, almost absolutely autonomous, of course, using solar power, wind power, and it would be an ecological, sustainable project to either host population and also provide hotel and villa spaces for the tourists. And for the Gambia, for example, we even made so we went so far as to make an environmental EIA, so environment agency. We met with them and we made a special report. We spent a lot of money to inspect the seabed of the Atlantic Ocean, about from 800 to 1,000 meters from the ocean shore of the Gambia, and where formerly were some bird islands, but they were almost destroyed by the rising oceans, and we offered them to, like in Dubai, to make some new developments, to make land reclamation of these islands, so to build them from under the sea, and also use use them for making housing, resorts, some business areas.
Islands.
Yes, artificial islands. Well, semi-artificial islands too.
Well, excellent. And so that's the development plan. What's sort of the business model? The standard special economic zone business model is that the manager of the zone operator, they own the land. They have a 100-year lease on the land, and then they sublease out different plots and parcels of land to other developers and other owners.
Yes, absolutely. It's 99% coincides with our strategy, right?
Perfect.
Мы коллеги вашего президента Трампа.
So yes, like President Trump.
And he was a real estate developer.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of, so one element of the business plan that I've gathered from the website, and this hasn't really been expounded upon, and it might be a little bit controversial, is that you plan to incorporate some sort of token or cryptocurrency into your development, or has that put on pause?
Okay. Yes, we were highly influenced with some of our partners in Russia and also abroad. And in the end of 2017, we decided to try this path of making and providing an initial coin offering, but we didn't start it actually. So we prepared, we hired a team of different people, even of PR strategists, some people who already participated in other ICOs or ICOs, I don't know. And we almost started it. But then we understood that at that time, it was the end of 2017, we had some disputes over the memorandum signed with the Republic of the Gambia, and we understood that it is not the right time to try to use this hype with cryptocurrencies, and we just stopped.
That's understandable, especially seeing how much controversy there are about shady ICOs. It's probably best not to include an additional layer of controversy on top of a very interesting project as it is.
Yes, that's right. That's right. What we really liked, and what we are studying now, that all these stories with the rise of different cryptocurrencies, these enthusiasts, they created a lot of absolutely new communities, and there are a lot of people who believe in new types of not only money, but also new types of governments, new types of jurisdictions. And this is really interesting for us to talk to such people and to share our revolutionary ideas and to also listen to their opinions. And this is, big thanks to cryptocurrencies, really.
Digging a little bit into Anton's background, it seems that he might have got some inspiration to get involved in cryptocurrencies based on his involvement with the Ural franc, which was sort of this alternative currency after the Soviet Union. Did that sort of inspire gain more interest from your father to get involved in cryptocurrencies?
So when Anton and his team were younger, much younger, they all were big fans of von Hayek, and they have been reading his books about private money.
И, в общем, конечно, это было вот одним из шагов моего, скажем так, возмужания, моего обретения жизненного опыта. И, в общем, я считаю, что та история окупилась. Пусть это все и затянулось, но, в общем-то, уральские франки ходили у меня на заводе, когда у меня был коллектив, 10 тысяч человек у меня работал.
Anton thinks that all these ideas were not just theory, and even many years after the first printing of euro francs, when Anton was the CEO of large metallurgical plants with over 14,000 workers, and the economics of Russia was very under pressure, and these euro francs were used by the workers of the plant to buy food and to be fed. That's great, we think. So Anton used private money again many years after first printing of euro francs.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they would have a very easy continuum, and it seems like a lot of these ideas that inspired by Hayek and this sort of idea of experimental governments seem to have this theme. Do you explore these themes of alternative governance and private currencies in your work, which is coming out this year, the State is You?
Ты используешь, в принципе, изучаешь, точнее, экспериментальные правительства и частные деньги в своей upcoming, то есть, которая выходит книга «Государство – это ты».
Разумеется, и в принципе я считаю, что будущее не только за частными деньгами, но и за частными государствами. И мы видим нашу Romanov Empire как федерацию вот этих частных государств совершенно различные условия.
Of course. We believe this is not only Anton, but me too. We believe that in the future, not only private money will exist and dominate, but also a lot of private states with absolutely different types of governments, and we really want them to be parts of the Romanov Empire.
Excellent. I mean, there's a lot of people in the Startup Society movement that are very interested in stuff like that. Obviously, there's these large obstacles in securing jurisdictions, and they usually have to go through a route, such as a special economic zone, to move past it. But when you're talking to our audience, if you're saying to our audience what the state of the Romanov Empire is and what you need help in, what would you tell our listeners right now?
Если сказать аудитории, чем действительно является Романовская империя и как им можно, в принципе, помочь? Да?
Значит, на сегодняшний день мы еще не состоялись, мы еще формирующийся проект. Если мы добьемся дипломатического признания, то мы в дальнейшем мечтаем стать платформой для создания новых рождающихся вот таких стейт-проектов, да, и оказать им возможность в дипломатическом, да.
So, first of all, we are forming our project ourselves, so it is not a finished one, but we see Romanov Empire as a platform or an interface to only after Romanov Empire is recognized diplomatically by at least several other states, we see us as a platform for all other emerging states to become real sovereign states with their jurisdictions, and we will really help them diplomatically, and we can be the first and maybe the last platform to have all the attributes of real modern sovereign state, so that new emerging states don't have to make expenses to have their own diplomatic ministry of foreign affairs, or maybe other very expensive bureaucratic attributes, right?
Let's hope. I mean, it's great that we have all these projects and experiments. I think the word sovereignty will be harsh for many years, and that's probably why there's been so much difficult with the jurisdictions that have been reached out to about this project. But we're willing to provide a platform and help in any way that can make sure that as many experiments in governance is humanly possible. So I want to thank you for joining us on the show. I think our listeners are going to get a lot out of it. For all the listeners of the show, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and check us out on Facebook, or go to startupsocietiesfoundation.com. Everyone, thank you so much for the call. It was really great talking to you, and good luck with your project moving forward.
Joe, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.